Hello guys, welcome to a new Duel replay. Today I played Dogmatika-Invoked against, this is actually a Buster Blader deck with red eyes. This is like a really interesting deck. You will see it in this video. I like it. I didn't knew that this kind of deck existed before, and yeah. My hand right here is like really not that great. I only have like access to my Dogmatika engine and also the Dead Schism in my hand, and yeah, the Fleur-de-Lis is not really the best Dogmatika to draw, so my only starter is Dogmatika Punishment right here, but I have Droplet and Whaler, and yeah, I'm going second right here. But also his hand is also not really that great. He has like the one effect Whaler and then two Red Eyes Fusion and also the Red Eyes Wyvern, and he cannot activate the Red Eyes Insider because of that, because he obviously plays only the one Wyvern, but Wyvern is a pretty good card with Dragoon. You will see that in this duel. Alright, yeah. He starts, he just uses Red Eyes Fusion, Fuse for Dragoon, set one card the inside. He knows that this card is dead, so he just sets it as a bait, and then it's my turn. I top deck Fleur-de-Lis. Alright, right here, Fleur-de-Lis could be a pretty good out against Dragoon, and when I attack over it, he has to negate it or it will get like 3000 attack, then they will just crash. But I also have like the Forbidden Droplet right here, so I'm pretty confident that I can out the Dragoon. So I just activate Fleur-de-Lis, he decides not to negate it with Dragoon. Then I want to go into the battle phase. He tells me that at the end of the main phase he wants to use the Whaler. That's alright. And yet he does that because he doesn't want to waste the Dragoon negate on Fleur-de-Lis. I say that I still go into the battle phase and attack it, and then in the damage step I use Droplet for the other Fleur-de-Lis. I drop down the other Fleur-de-Lis right here. I could have also dropped the Schism, but I don't want it Dragoon to be able to chain, so yeah, I had to use Whaler or the other Fleur-de-Lis, and I thought his monster sum from the extra deck will go, so I will have no there's no point to have the other Fleur-de-Lis because I cannot summon it. So I kill the Dragoon, he takes 1000 damage, I set the punishment, I keep the Schism in my hand to maybe negate with it for Mechaba or something like that. Then it's his turn and he actually draws a really good card. That's his Buster Blader engine, and this card is like really interesting. It sends this Destruction Sword card and also a Buster Blader, and then special summons a Buster Blader monster, a Buster Dragon from the deck. So yeah, this is like really good. Yeah, he sets those two cards, the Wyvern and the Destruction Sword. Then it's my turn. I actually top deck Meltdown, which is like really great because I didn't use Punishment in the last turn. So yeah, I activate Meltdown, get to my hand Alistair. Then when he sees that Alistair comes into my hand, he activates the prologue of the Destruction Swordsman and also sends Destruction Swords of Memories. So this is how this works. He activates this chaining 1, then sends as cost Destruction Sword Memories, and then he can chain this one's grave effect, and this one fuses from the grave. The Buster Blader, he sent it with the other card, and also a dragon monster, in this case Red Eyes Black Dragon for a Buster Blader monster. So yeah, I obviously have to read those cards first, and then chaining 2, he summons the Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, and also the Buster Dragon. So what those cards do is it's like a really good floodgate right here, because the Buster Blader Dragon Destroyer Swordsman says that no dragon monsters on my side of the field or in my graveyard cannot activate its effect, and this card yeah, makes all cards dragon that I have. So, and also all dragons go into defense. So yes, now all my cards are dragons, and he goes into defense, and he also gains like attack 1000 for each dragon, which attack and defense, which is like really good. Yeah, but I used that punishment and killed the Buster Dragon by sending the Titaniclad, and Yeah, the Titanic was a mistake because he actually is a dragon, so he will get attack points, and also I cannot use the Titanic Light. Then I normal Alistair and get Invocation. Invocation, I cannot use it anymore, but I can use it in the next turn because I used Punishment. So yeah, then I go to battle phase and try to attack over it, but I forgot that Titanic Light is a dragon and that I still have it in my graveyard, so yeah. So I take 500. This was like a misplay, but I think it doesn't matter right here. Then I attack with the Alistair into the Wyvern. I should have maybe not attacked right here. It could have also been like a hand trap or stuff like that. But I just wanted to see what he has there in what he has there set. So yeah, I decide then to set a Schism just as a bait, or if I send something, then it's his turn. He draws. There can be only one, which is like okay. He sets it, and then he wants to go into battle phase. End of main phase, I negate the Buster Blader, so he has not the 1000 attack more, so he can't go over my Fleur-de-Lis. He just decides to kill the Alistair, and I take 800. Then he links those two away for the Protector Whelp, and this guy actually has an effect. If he gets linked summoned, he can send a Destruction Sword card from his deck to the graveyard, so he does that, and sends like the Fusion card. And then in the end phase, he revives the Dragoon with his Red Eyes Wyvern. This is totally possible and it's like a really strong play. So then it's my turn. I actually top deck Triple Tactic Talents, which is like really great to out the Dragoon. And yeah, then I activate Invocation. And I fuse for the Arguides, and then on summon I use the effect of Arguides. He tries to use Dragoon, but he cannot do that because of Meltdown. He cannot react to it, and he also couldn't negate the invocation. But yeah, I explained the Meltdown rulings, and yeah. Then he decides just to use the Prologue of Destruction Swordsman to protect the Protector Whelp of Destruction, so he can this card cannot be destroyed by card effects then this turn through this card. So yeah, then I just go to the battle phase and try to attack with Fleur-de-Lis, because it's actually 3k right now and it's also 3k, but he decides to use there can be only one, and use the effect of Red Eyes Dragoon to get his Dragoon pushed, which is like really OP. He can negate his own cards. He used 2 cards for it, but he will keep his Dragoon, which is like good. So I lose 1000 and my Fleur-de-Lis. Then I use Invocation's effect, get back Alistair, and then normal Alistair use its effect to get to the Invocation, and then I use Triple Tactics Talents, and yeah, then we realize I cannot use Triple Tactics Talents. He actually used the effect of Dragoon, but it wasn't in the main phase. It has to be effect during the main phase. So yeah, this was like a misplay. We catch that, and he gets it back, and I get my Triple Tactics Talents to my hand, and then I use Almirage. And also Arguides, I banish the Titanic Lights, so Arguides is like 4500 attack, and I thought I will build the Almirage right here, so I can protect my Arguides, which is like bigger than Dragoon, to be destroyed in the next turn by Dragoon. So yeah, then I also use Invocation to fuse for Mechaba, so to be able to maybe negate the Dragoon or stuff like that. But yeah, I only have like the talents at my hand, which is like a spell card, so I can't negate Dragoon. That's why I don't understand right here why he didn't negate the Almirage. He had like game on board. I had only 5-1, and if he would just destroy one and then attack over the other, no, he can destroy both, because if he just negated the Almirage with this card in hand, then he could have just killed me. So yeah, I protect the Arguides, and he kills the Mechaba and just decides to set the Prologue, which is also okay, because this sets him in a really advanced position. But right here he had the game. There was no way to lose it. I top deck a Desires, which is like good. I use then Invocation to get back Alistair. Normal Alistair, he cannot negate it because he has no card in his hand. Get Invocation, activate Pot of Desires, banish the 10, and draw 2, which is Nadir Servant and Ecclesia is like 2 insane top decks. And yeah, then I use Invocation, and get Mechaba, then use Arguides and also an Liturgy Servant to put Epsilon in my grave, so I can finally use Schism. And I get Ecclesia to my hand. And then he uses Prologue of Destruction Swords. And yeah, then he does the same again, sends 2 cards, and then fuses and special summons the Blader-Dragoon. So I'm actually like locked right here, and he hasn't used a monster effect yet, and it doesn't help if I special summon Ecclesia right here because I cannot use her effect. So yeah, I'm pretty much screwed right here. I still have like the Schism, and I try to use the Schism to go into. I cannot go for the Winder because I have like no dark right here, but I try to go for the Construct because she's like harder to out. But and then I can send the Blader, the Destruction Swordsman, but yeah, it doesn't matter right here because then he just goes into this guy in the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and then yeah, he just starts to shoot my stuff, can just negate it with those cards, and then it's like over for me right there. Alright, then siding is in progress. I think I sided in Scythe and also Lancia and the Sanctums to be just safer from Evilly. And I decided to go first because I lost the first one. That's like a reasonable hand. Maximus is like my Dogmatika part of the deck. Then Alistair and Meltdown, Whaler desires to draw more stuff. His hand is like really not good. He has like the red eyes, he has the Prologue of Destruction Sword, but I think he only plays like 2 Buster Bladers because he always wants to send them, and then he drew both of them. But he has the Prologue of Destruction Swordsman. But yeah, this doesn't help if he has all his targets. But he has a draw, which helps him like a lot. I start right here by normal summoning the Alistair, because I know that draw is like in meta and everybody sides them or main decks it. So yeah, normally I would go for the Meltdown first to bait out like an Ash, but right here I think it's like it's like way more possible that I get hit by a draw than by an Ash. So yeah, yeah, I was right. I get to my invocation and then he draws me, and yeah, then I go into Almirage and also Gardener, and then use invocation to just go for the Mechaba. And yeah, this is right here my play because I have like Pot of Desires, which is dead. Maximus, I could special summon it, but this won't help me. I cannot go for the Winder play. I cannot go for the Ash Dragon, so yeah, I will have like Mechaba and Whaler here for the next turn. But that's like alright, because he draws another draw lock, but it just decides to set the Destruction Sword card. I top deck Punishment, which is like good. I normal Alistair, and yeah, he just shows me his hand and says, yeah, this is like game. So we go to game 3. I assume that I have to go second right here, so I side out the Sanctums and the Scythe, and side in going second card like Pankratops, and also I sided in my hand traps, I think. So yeah, yeah, I have to go second right here. I also sided in Lightning Storm, which you can see right here. So yeah, the third game was like a bit awkward. He has like Imperial Order, which is like one of the strongest cards against my deck. You can see that I already have like 3 spells in my hand. Also Dynamicious, which is like an alright card. It's hard because it just banishes, but I think if this card wouldn't target, it would have been way better, because then you could have out a Dragoon and stuff like that. And he has also this Destruction Sword of Memories. I don't think you really want to draw this. It's like better if you send it through the other card, but I think it's also alright to draw it. It's not that bad. But also he has like a Buster Blader and a Called by the Grave. My hand right here is like pretty good. Talents is like really good going second. Maximus also alright, but I have like 2 Alistair and also a Lightning Storm, which can help. So yeah, he sets like 4 Order, Dynamicious, Called by the Grave, and the Destruction Sword of Memories, and then it's my turn. I obviously just start by using Lightning Storm, and he activates Imperial Order, and you can see it right here. I have like 2 Meltdowns now and 1 Alistair and Maximus. This does like really hurt, because I can can use nothing. And yeah, then I just go for Alistair, normal Alistair, get invocation. And my plan right here is to send with Maximus the Entes to shoot the Imperial Order to be able to use all my spells again. Yeah, that's why I go for Almirage and then go for Gardener and then banish Almirage to special summon Maximus. But yeah, on summon he uses Dynamicious and yeah, throws on the graveyard the Buster Blader and then just banishes my Maximus, so I can't do that. So I just go for attacking him directly, and yeah, then it's his turn. He draws Red Eyes Fusion, which he cannot use luckily, because there's an Imperial Order on his side of the field. He loses 700. Then it's my turn. I draw the third Meltdown. I have like 5 dead spell cards in my hand because of Imperial Order. That just shows how dumb and powerful Imperial Order is. But yeah, he loses another 700. I take it directly with thousands, and then it's his turn. He draws Draw, which also doesn't really help him. And it's my turn. I draw Nadir's turn. I have like 6 dead spell cards in my hand. This is like so crazy. And yeah, he loses another 700. I attack him directly. Loses 1000. And it's end phase. He draws the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, which is like good because then he can actually use this card because he has to discard 1 Destruction Sword card. So yeah. But he still can't use his Red Eyes Fusion because of Imperial Order, and his life points are getting really low. So yeah, but he uses this one, and also special summons the Buster Blader, and then he can also use the Fusion Summoning effect and go for the Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. Say that 3 times in a row. And then yeah, he kills my Gardener and attacks me directly with the Buster Blader. Then it's my turn, and I finally draw a non-spell card. I drew like 2 spell cards in a row, so yeah. Then I draw finally a punishment. This helps me a lot because he has like only 800 life points left. So then it will be his turn. He will lose 700, then he will be at 100. Then in my turn, this card will die. So yeah, I can use my my 6 spell cards. So I decide to just set the punishment to be able to survive maybe the turn if he gets more stuff. And then this turn he draws a Dynamicious, which doesn't help him to OTK me. He loses another 700. It's now at 100 LP. So I think when you're at 100 LP, the life points do actually matter. So yeah, he goes to battle phase, and this guy can't attack directly, so he cannot attack me directly with that. So I only lose like 2,600. I also don't want to use punishment right here because then I cannot use my countless Alistairs next turn. So yeah. Then he sets Dynamicious, and it's like really good that I'm the first guy that can actually use spell cards again, because if he would have been able to use the Red Eyes Fusion right here, I would have been dead. So yeah, he's now at 100 life points, and I can use my spell cards, which is like really good for me. I start by using Meltdown and getting Alistair the Invoker, and I have like no idea why he doesn't draw right here. So he should have rolled me, but he may forgets it, I don't know. I use Alistair, get another invocation, and now he uses the draw. And then yeah, I thought a bit right here. Then I used invocation, banished Gardener and the Alistair in my graveyard to get Mechaba, then used invocation's effect and get Alistair from my banished pile. And I'm like still fully stacked right here. Then I actually decide to use talents because he used the draw Lockbird and take control of his Destruction Swordsman. There were like a lot of ways right here to be able to kill him. Right here, if I would have just go to the battle phase and then just attack over the Buster Blader, I would have been able to kill him because he had like only 100 left. I could have just discarded the Alistair, but I don't really want to risk it because I didn't use those 2 cards. This could have been anything. And yeah, so I used another invocation and banished those 2 for the Arguides. That's why I actually took it with triple tactic talents, and then with Arguides I shoot his last remaining monster. Then I attack with Mechaba, and he uses Dynamicious, and then chains his Palio in the graveyard, which is like good. and yeah, he still has to discard his card in the hand. And right here, this duel is like 1 because he had to discard his Red Eyes Fusion. But yeah, I still have like a punishment to shoot his Dynamishes, and then yeah, it's like game over for him then, because I can just attack him directly. This call won't help him right here. So yeah, and my hand is like fully stacked still. So yeah, that's like Duel, and yeah. So thank you guys for watching. If you have like replays that you want me to review, yeah, just send a dueling book link in the comments and I will take a look at it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more duel replays.